just a good old boy.
Morning. Well, we're back at service work again today. This is the 4710. Still, I'm doing the oil change on it now. We changed the AC filter yesterday, which I didn't record, and the hydraulic filter, I wound up and lost 2.5 gallons of hydraulic oil. If I was smart, which I'm not always the smartest person in the world, I don't claim to be. I make mistakes just like everybody else does. Sometimes I'm an idiot, sometimes I'm a genius. But if I would have took 2 empty 5-gallon buckets and did what I did, I would have caught all the oil and lost nothing, and could have changed it pretty successfully, I do believe. And I think that would have worked really good. Let me screw this cap off. This stuff is not wanting to go. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Well, I thought I was going to like this new oil pan that Dad bought, but I'm finding a hard time liking it right now. It's not draining like it's supposed to. Now I can't get the damn plug back in it. So I guess I'll just hold it here like this and let it run down. Yeah, these dish kind to keep trash out don't work the best in the world for doing this. And I grabbed this thing and try it, thinking it might work, but no. But yeah, if you take your 2 empty buckets and have them where you can change them out, you shouldn't lose any oil, and you can change that thing out without having to drain the entire transmission on that thing. But you got to be quick. I would have probably 3 buckets available, so that way if you can't get it back on before it all runs out, you can just catch all the oil and then you won't have to worry about it. But I did it within 1 bucket full, so that left 10 gallons or more of fluid left in the rear end of that thing when I got done. Had I done it the way I did the first time, the proper way of doing it is to drain all the fluid, replace the filter. I would recommend, if you had not changed the fluid till then, potentially just going ahead and changing the fluid while you're doing it, because these transmissions are kind of like automatic transmissions nowadays. The 4710, this one's really not, but the 5400 whatnot, with all the clutch disc and everything, and the way that thing works, it's kind of like an automatic transmission really in a car. That they need a fluid service every so many hours. Really, they all need fluid services every so many hours, but I know a lot of us don't do it like we should. I've been guilty of it, but whether we want to admit it or not, and we'll leave it in them, especially on the older tractors, because we don't want to buy the fluid to go back in them, especially the right kind of fluid to go back in them, because there is a difference in hydraulic oils. Like that Permatran that these newer Massey's take, that, I'm going to be honest, I've dealt with a lot of hydraulic fluid. That is probably the best hydraulic fluid I've ever been around. I know a lot of the companies now have gone to that, like Deere has a fluid similar to it that they call something or other, I forget what it is. But it's good stuff. I mean, when you touch it, you can tell the difference in it and the other oils. that like you buy at Tractor Supply, like the yellow bucket, the famous yellow buckets that they've done away with now, and they've made everything black buckets now. But the old famous yellow bucket hydraulic fluid that's real cheap, that you can buy at Tractor Supply or somewhere for nearly nothing, that stuff is like water. It's like junk compared to the higher end fluids. And for these power shift CVTs and transmissions like that, like the Dyna 2, the Dyna 4 if you're a Massey guy, or the CVTs, IVT transmissions and different tractors and stuff, those transmissions really need a good fluid versus the old traditional style. What?
We need any grease?
Yeah, we're out.
You want to get a case?
Yeah.
How many's in a case? 6?
No, I think like 10 or 12 tubes.
Okay. I'll get. Now they got domestic grease, she says, but don't get oil.
You get domestic grease.
It's better, ain't
I like it.
Alright.
Good enough for a entry level number 2 grease. Some of these drive shafts need a little better grease than that, but that we have. But for overall general maintenance and stuff, number 2 Mystic's pretty good. Yeah, they need a little bit better fluid. And you know, I look over these things. I have to do this from time to time. I don't know why, but I'll go on the parts books websites for Massey or other equipment if they have them available. I think New Holland has one available where you can look up the parts for your equipment online, the breakdowns of everything. And I go through the pages and I just look at them and see how some of this stuff designed, especially the service stuff that's on my side, see what may or may not need changing on these tractors. And you find things that you would never think about, and I'm gonna be willing to bet that 9 out of 10 dealers would never change or think about. Like last night I was surfing through the 5400 parts book pages for my tractor, and I discovered that it has, which they may all have this, but from a farmer's perspective, just doing service work at home, I had never heard of this. It has a thermostat for the hydraulic oil. For the hydraulic oil, it has a thermostat that's mounted, I believe, I have not looked yet, but I've got the parts breakdown. It looks like that it's mounted on top of the rear end of that tractor. And it's a thermostat to open and shut for the hydraulic cooler, just like a thermostat on the motor would be. And I didn't know it had that. I mean, the book doesn't say anything about it, and it's there. And if I know thermostats, they go bad, and it probably could use changing. I would think so. I'm going to explore that a little bit more today and kind of see if I can't find it. And if it don't look too bad, I may go ahead and get me one and change it. And ask the dealer about the process of changing it, if there's a bleeding process or anything like that. If it's too much of a headache, the next time I have it up to the dealership for something that needs to be done that I can't do, I will, because I don't have a computer or nothing, I will have them swap it out, because I'll guarantee you those things go bad, and over time the performance will start to drop down, and that's what kills pumps and burns up transmission disc is hot oil and stuff in those transmissions, and that's what's going to kill it if anything does. Even if you do everything you're supposed to do, that thing can stick and it can cause issues. So that's something I'm going to look into changing on that tractor. Another thing that I need to really get for it too, as many hours as on it now, I need to change the thermostats on it and deal with that, because we battle a lot of heat down here. That's our biggest thing. It doesn't get cold down here that bad, but it gets hotter than hell during the summer. It's not really hot, it's just humid, and it really, you can tell when you're baling hay the difference when it's humid and it's not humid. I've seen hot dry days and it's not that bad, but hot humid days are awful. The tractors, everything, you can tell it. Me, the way our humidity is down here, it's just awful to deal with. So that's something I'm gonna be looking in when I change that the big filter on the transmission today. I'm gonna look at that. And that transmission, the filter that I am changing for that is for the big one on the side goes to the pump. It's the actual pump filter. It's due to be changed. There is a cartridge steel filter that I change every spring, every year. You're supposed to change it every few hundred, 300 or 400 hours. Sometimes I change it twice a year. A lot of times I do change it twice a year. I've got one. I might as well just go ahead and change it out, but it's for the this one has it too. It's for the load sensing and the spool valves and stuff is what that filter's for. And there is another smaller filter. All right, so that thermostat is right there. Hold on a minute, let me see if I can get this light to sit still. It is, I go under this hose right here. It's that big block right there with the line coming out of it. That gray line that runs from the front up there, if you can see it, right there at the end of my finger and around, comes into this side. That's from the cooler, and then that goes back down into the pump. But there is a thermostat inside of that, and I am thinking that I need to change that because it's probably due. I'm also going to go ahead, when I do it, I'm going to do that over the winter and change the thermostats on the engine too. Probably needs that done as well. Here is the transmission filter for this thing. This is the load sensing spool filter in here that goes in here. Y'all see me change that many times in the video. This is the one you have to change most often. The power shuttle filter is in this little thing right here. You take this whole unit off, you undo it down here, screw it off of this, pull it off, and you're gonna have to put this in a vise or something to hold it, and then try to put a nut on the end down here. There's a little nut on the end of that canister and open it. It is fun to get that open for the first time. I don't know why, but it is. And there is a filter in there that has to be changed every so often. The pump for this tractor, just a little educational stuff, if you're wondering, is behind this plate right here that bolts up onto the side of this block, valve block and everything. It fastens right there on the side, and it sits inside the transmission in there with gear on it. And this is a filter that goes directly to it. These are the three filters for the hydraulic stuff. They're all three right here together, that has to be changed. And this is the accumulator for the power shuttle and the shift on the dyno shift and everything. We gotta pull this thing off first, this big filter. Throw the other one on. All right, let's try this again. Battery's not dead. got it, like 3 videos on this one camera I've got. I ain't even done none of them yet. Nope. Pull this. I'm gonna throw the other one on. There we go. Hope y'all can see that. This one's easy to change. Oh. But the others aren't so easy. Well, they're harder than that one, but this one here's not bad at all. That one there's the one that's fun. But this one here's the same thing. You just screw this end off, pop a new one in, screw it back on, put new O-rings on. But yep, that's the 5400. Got a little bit of fluid buildup around it because I had those lines right there that's blue. I had one of those go to leaking, and I replaced all 3, put all 3 of them on there, and we're good to go. Or no, 2. I think it's 2. I was thinking there's 3. Yeah, there's just 2. Put all those on there, now we're good to go there. But yeah, that's the sensors and the solenoids and stuff for the transmission. There's 2 of the solenoids. There's another one right there that shifts this transmission. It makes everything work. There is some more right there to engage stuff, but this here is the actual block, I believe, for the Dyna 4 and the shifting that goes on with it. But this is the 5400, by the way. I did swap tractors out since earlier in the video. So yep, that's it. Old girl's still looking good. The top of the hood's starting to fade though, and this thing's always been shed kept, but it happens. I mean, once you get so many hours out in the sunlight running every day, the hood starts to fade. I need to take a buffer and try to buff that out, get it out of it. The stickers have started to fade. The paint looks better than the stickers, and that's rare. You don't see that in these. This thing looks very good for a 5400. Most of them you see does not look nowhere near this good. They look pretty rough, because let's face it, this tractor's what, it's 08, so this thing's what, 10, 12, 13 years old now, going on 14 years old is how old this tractor is. We bought it used, and it didn't have many hours on it. I think it had less than 200 on it when we bought it, but it was 2 or 3 years old when we bought it. But I love this old thing. Dad's wanting to turn the fuel up some more on it because we've been looking at, turn this speaker off. We've been looking at, I was checking the minutes I got left. We've been looking at what it would cost to replace this thing with a larger tractor, because we really need a larger tractor. Can't afford to buy a larger tractor right now. I'm not planning on buying a larger tractor right now anytime soon, because personally I think the way everything's going right now in this whole economy, I'm holding on to every dime that we can get right now, and with all the crap we've been dealing with here on the farm, I don't know what the future holds. So I'm not buying nothing right now, but in the foreseeable future, if we are still going to be farming, and farming at the scale that we currently are, or more, hopefully eventually we can do more than we're doing now, which we already do quite a bit. But if we can stay at the scale we're at now and baling like we do and using the tractor, I would like to get a larger tractor. Ideally, I want to buy a 130, 140 horse tractor, but those are very expensive. Now, if I went with a Global Series 6713, that's just a 6-speed manual transmission, I don't know what those are selling for now, but I do know a year or two ago they were selling for 75, and I think that was with the loader on it for 4-wheel drive 130 horse Global Series 6713. They was around 75 down here where I'm at. Now up north and other places you go, depending on where you're at, they get stupid price. Dealers try to rip other dealers off, charge ridiculous amounts for tractors, like the Global Series Dyna 4 5711 or whatnot. That tractor down here was going to run, when I first found out about it and it was coming out, I asked about it, and it was going to be around the same price as the 6713, kind of in that 70 area. But I've seen other people say their brand that and their dealers they're way higher. I don't know. Which I haven't asked since then, and that's been a year or two ago. So I wouldn't think that they've went up that much. But I know you can drive an hour down the road to another dealer than my dealer, Canes, and I can price from them, and they'll be $5,000-$6,000 more for the same damn thing. So it just depends on the dealer, and I've noticed a trend: the further north you go, the more expensive these things get. Like up in Pennsylvania and stuff, equipment costs a lot more than it does down here, and I don't understand why. I really don't. But maybe it's the trucking, maybe it's something to do with that. I have no idea. I know AGCO's based out of Georgia, and whatnot, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it, what the deal is, but shop around is what I'm telling you. But anyway, it's get back what I was talking about. It's going to cost a lot of money to replace this thing. I mean, 130 horse tractor, 140 horse tractor with a Dyna 4, I mean, you're probably looking at 100K or more, probably 110, 115,000 for a tractor in that range, I would think. At least in that 100 to 115 range, and that's a lot of damn money to spend on a tractor. If I will say this: if we do purchase one with a Dyna 4 in it, it is going to, in that horsepower range, it will be used. The only option I have for me to feasibly pay for it, because I don't do this as a hobby. This is not a hobby for me. This is not a sidekick to make money for me. This is not a tax write-off for me. This is a full-time living for me. I make money and pay my bills every day doing this job. So I can't go out and buy a tractor that's 120, 130 horse that's fully slap loaded. You will never make your money back and pay for it. The way with the profit margins where they're at right now, and as expensive as this equipment is. And by the time you pay for it, you're going to have to go buy another tractor. I mean, these things are just stupid overpriced and high. The cattle market does not support it. The hay market does not support it. Those tractors are too small to use in the grain industry. So, I mean, unless you're doing a small scale, and then you're not going to make enough money, in my opinion, to support that. So I don't know what in the hell is driving that market to make these things as expensive as they are. But I'm not paying that. I will keep driving and repairing what I have before I pay that. So my only options are 6713 Global Series that's under that 100K mark. If we did consider new, but I highly doubt that, because I'm not paying that for a tractor. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to find a good used one that's around $50,000-$60,000 in that size range or cheaper. I don't care if it's got 2,000 or 3,000 hours on it. Do the work to it and drive it. You just cannot, if you're doing this for a living, pay that kind of money and expect to make any money at the end of the day. You are going to do nothing but keep up these companies that we have to buy stuff from, whether it's fertilizer, chemicals, seed companies, tractor equipment companies, whatever it is that we deal with, feed companies for cattle, all this stuff. All we do is keep these people up, and I'm tired of it. We make nothing at the end of the day, and all these people make money. So something's got to change. We can't keep doing this and go broke. So that's my rant, I guess, for the day. There's my wife. She must be looking for me.